Orlando Bravo, co-founder and managing partner of THOMA Bravo, private equity firm focused on software and tech investing with a mere 114 billion AUM. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's kick off and think about the outlook for the tech and software sector. Clearly the market's been characterized by fairly high valuations recently. How's that impacting your views and approach on the market?
Well, software has been the best. Over the last 20 years for this asset class in private equity, regardless of what fund or firm, it's just been a really, really, really good place to be. You have strong secular trends, which produce great growth. Secondly, you have the opportunity as business owners, which is what private equity does, to really operate these businesses to very high margins. They give you the opportunity with a great business model to achieve that. And that's currently not being achieved in the public markets. It never has, but it's achieved in the private markets, which is a big alpha creation for our industry. And then third, when you look at it, it's a very fragmented industry. It's a private equity type industry that allows you to create value through consolidation. All those trends are there today. Now, here's the thing. There are two very, very important things I would like to leave you with in software. Number one, software is at the beginning. Software is just beginning to change all of our business processes, how we communicate, how we work, and how we transact. We're so early on in that growth trajectory. Now, secondly, on valuations, there is no conversation in software ever that doesn't include valuations. They're either too high or too low. What has happened recently is that public investors, like any other investor should, want profitability. And that mainly does not exist in the industry in the public markets. And that's a challenge the industry faces now.
Okay, so very much on that point, talking about public investors versus private equity, are you saying then that private equity is the best owner, kind of investor type when it comes to software companies?
By far.
Hands down.
Hands down. Private equity has a very interesting opportunity now in the entire software industry. For the most part, private equity has been, until the last 5 years or so, at the fringes of the industry. Now, with all the capital that our industry has, private equity has an opportunity to buy the best companies, the largest companies, the market leaders, and to transform them into highly profitable enterprises that don't depend on outside capital to continue to innovate and to continue to grow. And that is an amazing trend that we're going to see over the next decade of private equity.
Okay, so bearing all of that in mind, in your opinion, is private equity the best owner for software companies?
By far. There's absolutely no question about it. And I would ask investors, LPs, to look at this. For example, look at a 20-year chart, 10-year chart, 5-year chart, and 3-year chart of the NASDAQ, the software index, and create a basket of private equity performance in software, net of fees, and see which one is better over 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, and 3 years. I bet you, and we have looked at that private equity comes way at the top. And there is an important reason for that. The alignment of interest of our industry and how experienced investors in private equity help founders and management teams run these companies is by far superior than the public markets.
Fab. Okay, so let's think about your approach to deal sourcing origination. What do you look for when it comes to a software company? You mentioned fragmented markets. Are there any specific characteristics that you're particularly targeting?
We look for the market leader. We feel scale is very important in software, and being partners with the number one player, especially in sectors like cybersecurity, is so important. So being the market leader with a lot of future behind your product, that ability to continue to innovate through the culture is absolutely important when partnering with a company and buying an asset. Now for us, and we're very unique about this, We look to make big positive changes in the companies we buy, and we seek to do that with the existing management team. So a third very important criteria is having a management team that we can work with and communicate well.
Okay, so thinking about those big changes that you like to make, can you give us any specifics on particular operational improvements that you typically drive within the companies you back?
It's all of it. It's all of it. And it's very important that really good operators focus on leadership, focus on process, and focus on having 2 or 3 major things to be done. When you come from a financial metrics world, you have thousands of metrics, many of which are well known, that you can put into place, but you won't get to them. You need to really, really prioritize. Overall, what we look to do is we look to divide a business into its many component parts. And we look to give P&L responsibility and authority to each of those direct reports of the CEO so they could manage, in collaboration with the whole, their own P&L. The creativity that they have when you give them that visibility is just great. They themselves come up with ways of pricing, distributing, producing that are different than what they were doing before, not necessarily with metrics that are well known in the industry. That organizational principle is really, really important, and we do that in every case.
Mm-hmm. So really empowering the teams that you're backing. Fab. Okay. My last question that I wanted to touch on was you've recently announced opening a London office, obviously my home, and clearly you've been more active in Europe recently. So how is the European market fitting into the firm's wider strategy at the moment?
Well, first of all, thank you for mentioning the London office. Everybody at THOMA Bravo is extremely excited about this.
Great, you're so welcome.
And when we do a new thing, we go all in. With the best leaders, with looking at the best companies, with looking to make a really, really good impact in every way. So we're really excited about it, and we know we have a big responsibility to perform well in the market. We've had a good, long history in Europe. I think you were alluding to, we've bought a number of companies and partnered with them, taking them private in the London Stock Exchange, taking them private in France, and it's been a really, really, really good experience. How this fits in the overall strategy is, think about what we look to do is try to buy market leaders that we can transform operationally. Now it's such an interconnected software world that you could find the market leader here in France, you can find it in Germany, you can find it in the UK, you find them in different places. And then the ability of our companies to do add-on acquisitions around the world is very important. And Europe plays a really, really key element in that. The growth of the software and venture ecosystem in Europe over the last 10 years has been absolutely phenomenal. So now there's enough great assets to partner with.
Fab. Well, let me know when you're in London. I'll take you out.
We'd love to get together.
Great.
I love London.
Me too.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your time in France.
Thank you so much.